Cool.
1, 2, 3. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is Vivian, and today we're going to be talking about depression. So I want to start off by saying that I am probably one of the least likely people to think that I would have suffered from depression or experienced depression on any level. I mean, when I think about it, like, I feel really blessed. Like, I have a good family, I have friends that love me, like, I'm doing my ideal job, like, I've got followers, I've got subscribers that support me and stuff, and it's like, why then are you depressed? Like, what do you have to be depressed about? But I feel like a lot of people misunderstand depression, and they feel like you have to be like really down and out or like have nothing going for yourself, and that's the reason why they're depressed. Like, that's the reason, there's a reason for their depression. But for me, back in July, I was going through a season where I was just like, I just felt really, really lonely, like very, very like isolated from everybody else. I was just going through loads and loads and loads of different emotions. At the time, I could say one of the reasons were that I didn't really feel supported with my friends. I had a lot of like issues with my friends, and people weren't talking to me and I weren't talking to some of my friends, and I just really felt like I was alone. And I'd always say to myself, like, I don't have any friends, like nobody cares. So I want to insert into the video a clip of like July. I basically recorded myself. I wasn't really able to express how I was feeling, but I managed to say something. So I'm going to insert a little clip into the video of when I was going through it at the time. Hey guys, so I am making this video today because I just need to get it off my chest. And I know things are going to get better, so I feel like I just have to record this so that I can look back on it and see how far I've come. And I just kind of want to get my feelings out there because I haven't really been feeling sure of how I'm truly feeling. But I just feel like really low and lonely. Like I'm having deep, it's like a sinking feeling. The thing is, the undercurrent is that I know that this is part of my story and that I'm having to feel the pain of someone that has depression so that I can save someone from depression. But it doesn't feel good. So back in July, I was preparing for my 25th birthday, which should have been like a really, really happy season. But I was out, I was doing photo shoots, I was planning photo shoots, I was planning my birthday, I was like being social, I was hanging out with my friends. But deep down, I just wasn't happy. Like, I just wasn't happy. I was going through the emotions, but I literally had no joy. I was not happy, I was not pleased. And they say that one of the symptoms of depression is losing the enthusiasm in things that you used to be enthusiastic about. So I didn't actually know at the time, but those were signs of depression. But I live in a house, obviously my family are there, and it's like, I still felt so alone because I wasn't communicating, I wasn't speaking to anybody about it. I was keeping it all up in my head and I wasn't letting it out. So the only person I was speaking to was myself, and there was like no form of like relief or release. So I definitely feel like it's important. I feel like isolation is a byproduct of depression.
Yeah.
Automatically, you're going to feel like when I isolate yourself, nobody understands me, no one can relate to what I'm going through, or nobody cares. And I feel like that's one of the lies that depression tells us, is that nobody cares what you're going through. A majority of people think that your life is okay. Like, they'll look at you. So I feel like everyone looks at people with their like Instagram filtered glasses. Like, everyone just thinks, oh yeah, her life is
with what you've been posting.
Yeah, they judge one picture and basically that's a sum total of your whole life. Or look at your feed and it's some total of you. Sum total of your whole life by looking at one photo. And I have to say, back in July, like, I can say that I was having the best makeup week ever. I'm still trying to reach that level of fleekiness. Like, honestly, I haven't been able to get it back. But during that time, I wasn't happy. I was suffering from depression. And like my hair was done, my hair was laid. Like everything on the outside was fine. Everything was cushy. But inside, I felt like I was sinking. Every day I would wake up and I'd be like, what am I doing? Why am I here? Like, what is the whole point? And I don't want to feel like this. And I remember like just like praying and praying and praying about it. I like watched videos on depression. I watched videos about how to change your mood. I practiced gratitude. Like they say, count your blessings, blah, blah, blah. All of this stuff. And it's like none of it works. So I really felt like I was screaming inside, but nobody was there to hear me because I wasn't literally screaming. I was screaming inside. I felt like nobody was there, but how could they be there for you if you don't tell them? So it was like a battle between like, I want them to know, but then I don't want them to know, so I'll just deal with it myself. And the way my personality is set up is that I'd rather keep it in. I'm always thinking like, if I've got a problem, I can solve it. But that's not always the case. Like, you can't always solve everything because you don't see everything. But I remember when I was going through it, I always had this thought in my head that once I come out of this, I'm going to have a testimony to tell somebody about it. That's the thing that kind of kept me going, because like I said, like I've never experienced depression ever in my life. The first thing I heard about depression was when I was quite young. I had a family member that was close to me that was suffering from depression. And I'm like, why are you depressed? Like weirdo. Like I thought, like, what a loser. Like why is she depressed or whatever? And like it's not until it happens to you that then you can actually understand it. Like because it's like it's not normal. We're going to explain that a bit more later. Yeah. But if ever in this video you listen to us talking and you think that you need to reach out to someone, that you need to get some help, like just think of someone in your mind that you actually trust, and someone who cares, and don't say no one cares, because someone does care. Get that name and just text them, like just be like, listen, I think I'm depressed. Like it's important to speak out and to break the silence and break the lies, because depression will keep you like a dark cloud is over you. And if you don't reach out, you're going to stay there and you're going to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And I just thank God that God had sent someone into my life at the time, my friend Michael, who was able to speak to me like on a daily and encourage me. Even though it was nice to speak about it, I still wasn't getting any relief. But he definitely sent me someone that was praying for me, that understood what I was going through. And I remember there was a time when I was doing a photo shoot for my birthday, and this is the first ever shoot that I've been on where I was like, my makeup was done, my hair was done, I had hairstylist and everything, but like I legit was just like, I was not even present. I was not even there.
Like a shell.
Yeah, and my photographer was like, are you okay? Do you want to talk about it? And I'm like, no. Like I was just like, yo, like I couldn't even smile. I was like, I just do that.
You don't feel things.
You just, I was just like, oh my God, I'm just taking a picture, and the pictures came out bomb. But that's not the point. Like, I was just feeling empty. Yeah. And that morning, I messaged my friend Michael, and I was just like, yo, like, this is the worst day. Everything's late. I was paying for the studio. Everything was running late. The trains were delayed. Everything was going wrong. And I'm like, I'm so done. So when I get to the shoot and I have to perform, I was just like, this is not possible. And I was like praying. I was reading my Bible. And I just really felt like nothing was working, and I was just getting even more frustrated. Like, God, can you not see me? Like, can you not see that I'm suffering? My release didn't come until the Monday after my birthday. I woke up and I've never felt so peaceful. And to go back to how that came about, I was celebrating my 25th birthday, and the lies that kept telling me was like, I don't have any friends, nobody cares, like, I'm done. But when I got to my birthday, like there was so many people there, and people that I actually cared about as well. So, and they were like surrounding me, and I actually felt special, which I didn't before. And I feel like that really showed me like everything you're saying is a lie. But could you imagine if I was being drastic about it, or taking my feelings for facts, and I would have done something stupid, not realizing that everything that I was feeling was almost a lie. And people do care about me, people do love me, and it had to take my birthday for me to experience that. So you've also experienced like depression as well, and it was kind of like around the same time that I was suffering.
How my depression came about is I dealt with a situation, and I think oftentimes with depression there's always something that starts it. I don't know if there's anybody that's ever fallen into depression without it starting from somewhere. You get like a trigger, you know, like you have an experience. Some people it's an abusive relationship or whatever, and what had happened with me left me emotionally vulnerable. And things that I would usually like fend off on a normal day, I no longer had the mental ability or strength to kind of fend it off. And if I could pull it in figures, like my depression was like 30% my family, the state of my family, 40% my life, like my life. I was questioning me. I was questioning my existence. I was questioning my story. Like, where will this stop?
Yeah. Where will the struggle end?
Yeah, it's like, it's always something. You kind of go up and you go down. You go up and you go down. And I think I was frustrated at the cycle of life. I was frustrated at the cycle of life and the fact that life will never just be one pace. It will never just be, do you know what I mean? Straightforward. It's always ups and down. And in my head, I had it like, I'm down today, so I'm going to be up. I don't want to do this game anymore. I don't want to do it. I just wanted to stop. Do you know what I mean? The other 30% was literally just random, stupid thoughts. Like thoughts that I would just be able to do that to if I was happy.
Like what?
Like, I don't even know. That's how bad it is. It's the type of thing where when I'm in it, if you ask me, I'll be able to tell you. But because I'm out of it, I can't even remember because it was so stupid. Do you know what I mean?
So everything gets magnified, basically.
It just becomes like stronger than you. If that makes any sense. It got so bad that I used to like get really bad headaches because like I'd wake up because I spent so much of my time the night before thinking. Naturally, I'm a thinker as well. So someone that's a heavy thinker and you give them negative thoughts, they will just multiply. Oh my God, I would create the most. I'd create the most in my head. So I'd wake up from the night before thinking a lot and thinking even more. But this time it's like, you know when you've been doing doodles, like on a piece of paper, and you use up all the blank space, and you wake up and you got to draw again, and it's all cluttered up. That's how my mind actually was. It was really bad, and I felt like my brain was broken. Like I couldn't think straight. I felt inadequate. I felt insufficient. I felt like I couldn't do my day-to-day life without taking paracetamol because my head would hurt so much.
So that was the physical side of the
depression. Yeah, that's the physical manifestation of it and how I felt. But in that season, like, I know myself. Like, even then, if you ask me to describe myself as a person, I'd be like, yeah, I'm exuberant, I'm animated, I'm this. No, that's the truth. I know myself. I can list you my qualities as a person.
But
at the time, I didn't feel happy. I didn't feel exuberant. I didn't feel confident. I hated the way I looked. I hated the way I looked. Not because I thought I was ugly, I just didn't like it. I didn't like it. I didn't like the way I looked. I didn't feel good about myself. I was literally going to work, coming home and sleeping. So for me, because I'd experienced, depression mildly before, I was able to pick up on it again. But I was so in denial. Oh my gosh. I was in denial. I was like, it'll pass. This too will pass. And that's thing.
Scripture, boy.
That's the thing about depression and Christians, yeah. Like, you have to, in Christendom, naturally, we tend to, pray over everything. We don't deal with the physical aspect.
The reality of the matter.
Yeah, exactly. We don't look at things in the face. Yes, pray about it, but look at it. Call it what it is. Yes, you are depressed.
They'll be like, oh,
you are depressed.
You'll be like, oh, I'm depressed. Don't claim that over your life.
Don't claim it over your life.
Don't speak it. And it's like, I'm not speaking it. I'm not speaking it. I'm just feeling it.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
But I think with Christians, we're just shy about our feelings. We don't know how to deal with emotions without it becoming the flesh. Naturally, there's like a, there's a grey area between your emotions and your flesh. People tend to kind of make it one and the same. It's not the same. Do you know what I mean? But for me, I was literally getting up, going to work, coming home and sleeping. Bruv, I started putting on weight, but my face was round. That's all I was doing. And eventually, I remember I decided, okay, I'm actually depressed. I admitted it to myself. I'm depressed. And I spoke to my friend. I was like, I am going through depression. I read a quote the other day. It said, depression is living with a mind that wants to die, but a body that's trying to survive.
It's a fight. Constantly.
It's literally a fight. It's such a fight. And for me, I was like, okay, one, I'm too scared to commit suicide. I didn't think I'd go to hell. Like, I don't want to go to hell. Do you know what I mean? I'll go there and be even more depressed. This time I can't get out. I was like, I was fighting with my story. I was like, God, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't like this. There's always something that's up with me. There's always ups and downs and stuff. Obviously, that's life, but
I feel like like life has been up and down for you, but the way that you've been able to overcome it is you constantly fight against it.
Exactly.
But then sometimes you get to a point where like you're
There's
tired.
no more fight.
You're tired of
You're just
fighting.
tired.
It's just long. Yeah.
Yeah, I literally got to a place where I was just like, okay, I just want to do Control Alt and Delete.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I want out. I wanted to get out of it.
Yeah.
Not because I hated the world. I just didn't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be here. I didn't want to.
You don't want to be here, but you don't want to die.
Yeah, exactly.
You just want to sleep forever.
Yeah, like that's all I used to do, sleep. And then, but the thing is, when you're sleeping, it doesn't go away.
It doesn't.
It's still there in your dreams, in your subconscious mind. Something is happening.
But
you're still kind of.
But there is almost a release.
Yeah, it is a relief.
Yeah,
like you feel like when you wake up, you're like, okay, I've got a bit of energy now. But before you know it, 2 seconds later, everything kind of comes back, swamping back to the forefront of your mind.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do day-to-day life, but I had to.
You had to, yeah.
And that's the worst thing, to do something when you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do it, but
that also shows how strong as human beings we are.
Yeah.
That we can still get on with it. Like depression doesn't have to keep you at home unless you haven't got a job. But yeah, with me as well, because I was planning my birthday, I had to go out. I had to talk to people. I had to get people's deposits for dinner. Like I had to be proactive. I had to do photo shoots, so I had to go out. And I feel like that was really my saving grace, because if I didn't, I would have just sunk in deeper and deeper and deeper.
Yeah. The strongest hold of depression is when you're not talking, all of it just kind of it piles up in your head. It piles up, and it gets so much that you can't even tell the line between you and the crazy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just becomes literally one.
Yeah.
And for me, I was able to tell where I was at, because when I finally decided, okay, I'm depressed, I admitted it, I'm depressed, this is the truth. And the depression was real, it was dark.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't get out of bed one day. I decided I'll go to the shops and buy something to wear.
Yeah.
And then I came back home.
For my birthday.
Yeah. And I came back home and I couldn't get out of bed. I was held captive by my bed. I couldn't get, like, it was literally, my bed was like, let's stay together. Once I admitted it and I became open about it, and literally what I did was I spoke to my friend every day. And I don't even know how she did it, but she never missed my call, answered all my texts. I think part of it was she was scared. I spoke to her every day, and the fact that I spoke to her, she would actually be like, you know, this is like crazy stuff you're saying. And it's hearing somebody else say that what you're saying is crazy kind of makes you see. Yeah. It kind of brings light into your darkness. Yeah. And it's important to speak to somebody who knows you in your good days, who knows your strength, who's seen you go through and come back. That person will remind you and be like, do you know what? You're stronger than this. You've been through worse. Yeah, because when I was speaking to Michael, I felt really bad for telling him, like, offloading all of my negativity. I'm like, I'm really sorry, but I have to say it. Like, I have to get it out. And he was like, oh, it's fine, don't worry. He had so much grace for me. So, yeah, it's important to be able to speak to a friend that you actually trust. Yeah, so key for me. Being raw and honest and having a safe place to talk about my emotions and just talk to that person and just tell them how I was really feeling. And that's why they say that like therapy is like the best cure for depression, because you're speaking about it, you're getting it out. Yeah. There have been times when I felt low because things weren't going well, but never that deep whereby like everything was going well, but I just didn't connect with it. I was disconnected. It's like a disconnection. It's a disconnection with everyone and everything. And I remember going to, I think it was like a one-day conference, and I remember coming back home thinking like nobody ever asks me to go out, nobody ever asks, what are you doing, like, do you want to go here, whatever. And I was just like, because when I came out of it, everybody kept asking me, oh, do you want to go here, whatever, and I was like, no, I do not want to go anywhere. You're crazy. But in my mind, I was like, all these negative thoughts, like, oh, everything's bad, everything's wrong, like, people are wrong, whatever. So it just maximizes everything that you're thinking. It makes everything uglier. Yeah. And nothing's positive. And I think for me, if there was one way I could describe depression, it's like your brain breaks down. It's like a mental dysfunction. It's like when you're like, you know, your screen's glitching. That's what, like, yes. That's why there's days where you'd feel happy and everything's connecting, and the next minute you're all the way down, all the way down, and there's no coming back up. Yeah, I feel like I used to have those releases when I went to church, but then I come back home. Yeah, but exactly, the little injections of happiness. Yeah, and I go back to you get out, you're just like, and your depression buddy is waiting for you outside, like, hi, babes, welcome. One thing that can keep you into depression way longer than you need to be is social media. Social media makes you depressed anyway. Like,
Even if you're having like an okay day, guarantee you go on your Instagram, you scroll through a few pictures, you go on a few profiles, you're gonna be depressed. You're gonna be.
Because social media is not a place where you see people's bad days.
Yeah.
Specifically, Instagram is the place where everything is perfect, everything's great. And if you're not feeling great, and you're not in a great place within yourself, and your life is not great, and you go on there, you're gonna find yourself like.
Yeah.
You're gonna throw a tantrum within yourself, and especially if you're depressed, you're just gonna go spiraling way down.
Yeah, because then you start comparing yourself.
Exactly,
Like,
and that
she's
comparison
happy.
comes into it.
I'm not. Like, why does her life?
And we start to judge other people's happiness based on what they're doing, how pretty they look.
Yeah. As if that's what makes them happy.
That's not happiness, boo boo. You've identified that you are depressed.
Yeah. Stay off social media. Delete it.
Come off social media so that you can deal with your reality.
Yeah.
You can start looking at other people's pretend reality.
I feel like there's different levels of depression.
Definitely.
It's kind of like the mild depression that some of like people go in and out. Like my mild one was on Saturday, and I had I've been like dipping in and out, like big ones though. So it was like a couple of, as in like no big dips, not like you know what I mean? As in like it'll be like
description is.
It'll be like sorry. It'll be like I'm fine for a few weeks and I'll go down, and then fine for a few weeks and I'll go down. It's not like close together. Do you know what I mean? The trigger behind my first one is what's trying to reoccur, and it's a feeling of loneliness. And I'm going to talk about this in my next video, but it's because of like my singleness and like feeling like I don't have one person that I can like offload to and someone that's going to be there to support me. It's a feeling of loneliness, like deep loneliness. And honestly, on Saturday I just got really tired of it. I'm like, every single weekend is the same thing. I get a release and I'm back there again. But good thing as well, I've got a therapist, so she helps me manage my feelings, manage my emotions, explain to me why I'm feeling those kind of ways and ways to help as well. So I feel like one of the cures is to either speak to someone or speak to a therapist. So I was saying that basically there's different levels of it. So there's real severe depression, where it's like clinical depression, whereby it's like medical. Would you say you had that?
I wouldn't say I was as far as that, but I think I could have gone there.
Yeah, if it had gone on any longer.
Yeah.
But I feel like I was adamant to come out of it.
I remember I spoke to one of my sisters when I was going through depression, and I was like, oh, I'm depressed and etc. whatever. But she was like, she said to me, but you've got this, you've got that, and you got that. I was just looking at her, does that then disqualify me from experiencing?
But then that's funny because that's the same thing you said to me when I told you I was depressed. It's like, but your family are there.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's because her depression was about the lack of family or whatever was going on.
But this is what I'm saying.
But
everyone's depression is different.
Yeah.
And we depressed. And oftentimes, like for me, I find that the things that trigger or leave me vulnerable to fall into depression aren't the things I actually depress about.
It's the things you care about that make you depressed.
Yeah, I was depressing about family and my life.
Yeah.
And the rest of the 30% was woo. You know?
Naturally, you look on the bright side of life. You want to look on the bright side of life, but when you are depressed, all you can see is the dark side. And I'm going to insert a picture here when I can find it. These two people, they're on the same bus. One's a girl, one's a guy.
And they've got masks on.
No. On the same bus, one look at the window with wonder, like, oh my god, on one side, and the other guy is all curled up, like it's all dark on that side because perspective. So it's all about perspective, and that's why I said I was reminding myself that when I come out of this, which I am gonna come out of it, I'm gonna have a testimony to tell. I'm gonna know what depression feels like, so that I can come even on YouTube or come to someone that has been facing depression and be able to relate to them, because I couldn't relate to someone with depression before. Okay, so there's a difference between sadness and depression.
Yeah, when you're sad and you count your blessings, that can work.
Okay,
when you're depressed, count your blessings, ain't going nowhere.
1, 2, 3, 4. Like there is a cure for sadness, and I like to listen to Tony Robbins. He's a really motivational speaker, and basically he says that you can change your emotions by changing your physiology. So he says, look up the sky and just smile. Yeah. And naturally, even if you're feeling sad, you smiling will make you feel a certain type of way.
Chemicals get released into your body based on what you're keeping in your reservoir mentally. Even hugging people releases endorphins into your body. Wow. even in your mild depression or whatever level of depression you're at, there's still a chemical imbalance because the way you feel, it's like there's no taste, bruv. There's no taste for anything.
Yeah.
You know, you don't feel for anything. And to not want to be here is just like...
I wasn't having fun, but I was miserable. I was like,
I'll be happy. Outside laughing.
Like Kanye.
Inside I'm like... Exactly. Literally, that's it.
But talking about Kanye as well, because I feel like that's like fresh. It's fresh on the news. Like with a lot of celebrities, because on the outside they look good and they have everything together.
Yeah.
It feels like it's a juxtaposition. It's like a, what do they call it? A contradiction for them to be depressed, because on the outside they look physically fine. It's like you said, you're trapped because you have to go out. You have to go out and perform. You have to go and do book signing. You have to live normal life
from your life.
But in your heart, like Selena Gomez said the other day, like she was broken. Like it's a brokenness that is inside that you cannot understand. I feel like everyone that loses someone, they have to cope with it.
Of course.
But some people can't get over it.
Yeah.
They're gone past not coping. It's like they can't get over it. And I feel like it's really important to see a therapist, because my therapist told me about the fact that I hadn't grieved for like a few family members that I lost. That I didn't know how to grieve. I wasn't grieving. And she said something that was really interesting, that back in the day, like even like the Bible days, they would take like 30 days of grieving. So you had time to grieve. In our day-to-day life, my friend has lost her mum. Like after a few days, they were calling her like, okay, when they came back to work, like there's no rest, there's no like downtime for you to actually grieve. And grieving is part of letting go. You grieve it and then you say, okay, I've grieved, now I move on.
But this is the thing, that the realities of life doesn't really allow for that.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
You can't just sit on your backside.
That's what I'm saying. But you can still grieve in your own way. Do you know what I mean? I think some prince in Thailand died or whatever. Some king in Thailand died. They're taking the whole year to grieve. Like, do you know what I mean? So like you have to take that time for yourself. For your mental state. Like work is not as important as your mental state. Money is not as important as your mental state, nor is fame. So you need to take time to be able to release that for you to be able to cope with life, because it's not fair for someone to say, okay, let's move on, when you haven't moved on. Do you know what I mean? So grief is definitely one of the aspects, one thing that causes depression. It's a trigger. So the purpose of this video, I really wanted to create it. It's taken me a while to actually make this video, because I was definitely waiting for the right time. I feel like I broke through that episode, because it was like a big thing for me. Like it was a big experience for me, like depression in July. But I broke through it. But there's still times, like I said, I was dipping in and out of it. And so I really feel like I made this video so that you guys can see that if you're suffering from depression, that you can see that you are not alone, and it's not uncommon, and it's one of those things that people just don't speak about because it's very taboo. And I feel like we need to break the silence by talking about it and letting you guys know that you guys are not alone, and that there is help out there, and there's people that love you and there people that care about you as well. So once you understand that belief and internalize it, it's only a matter of time till you get out of it. And you have to keep this, what is the message that you're telling yourself? Like I was saying to myself, I'm going to use this to help somebody in the future, so I have to get out of it. So you have to make a decision. You have to first acknowledge that you're depressed, to make a decision that you're not going to be like this forever, and do whatever it takes to get out of it, whether it's talking to someone, whether it's going to therapy, whether it's writing a note, but never suffer in silence, because silence is the biggest killer. And I really feel like the enemy loves when we are silent, and there's no time to be silent. You have work to do, like you have a life to live, and your life is going to get better, and you have to remind yourself that things are going to get better, and always keep that in your mind, because you need a light at the end of the tunnel. Because if there's no light, you're going to feel like this is my life. And that's how people commit suicide, because they're like, I'd rather end the suffering now than wait it out. Anyone that's overcome depression deserves a round of applause, because you could have taken an easy way out, but you decided to stick through it. And I just made this video. I brought Vivian here to share her experience, because I really want you guys to know that there is a way out of it. And whatever depression you're feeling, whether it's lost someone, or because you got your heart broken, or anything that causes depression, we want you guys to know that there is a way out. So just to recap.
So we spoke about triggers. So there's always a trigger, and not everyone's trigger is the same. The trigger is not always the same thing that you're depressed about.
Yeah.
You know, your trigger could be grief, and you wind up being depressed about the fact that you're ugly. It really
true. Yeah, and that's the thing as well. Once you come out of it, you're like,
what is that? What was that?
Irrelevant,
it's so minor. So there's triggers. The key things that, you know, worked as a relief for me was obviously acknowledging it to myself and not being in denial about it. Speaking to somebody who genuinely knows me beyond my depression, who knows my personality and knows how happy I can be as a person. Also, you know, writing a note to yourself to kind of keep track of, you know, your thought patterns and the things that you're keeping in your mind.
Like me and Vivian are big note writers. Like,
write notes.
Right.
If you went for our notes, you could write it, make a movie.
And so when we're going through something, we look back to the day and we feel like, how was you feeling during that time, and how did you overcome it as well? Because I feel like I can watch sermons, I can watch videos and stuff, but when I've seen something I've actually written, it's so much deeper to me, isn't it?
Yeah, because obviously, you know, like they always say, your voice is the most influential voice
in your life, in
your world as a whole.
Yeah.
And one thing I did as well, I forgot to mention, I spoke to a minister, I spoke to Alison.
Okay,
so she prayed with me. That helped. That was a good relief. And I think you have to take to take from this video. What we're saying is there are reliefs out there. But there isn't one size fits all cure for depression.
Yeah,
because everyone's depression is different.
Yeah, but I would definitely feel like everyone has a breakthrough moment, however that comes, and we believe in God, so we pray.
My breakthrough was deliverance. It was a miracle. I'm not gonna lie. It was a miracle.
So it's like, I'm not saying because I was surrounded by my friends that was all me or that was my friends. I feel like God orchestrated it in a way to show me that the lie that he was believing was a lie, and this is the truth, which the Bible says the truth shall set you free. So it's important to note down the lies that you're telling yourself and break free from that by shining the light, which is God's word, on the situation, illuminating it and believing it, really. Thank you guys for watching this video. I have returned with my talking videos, and there'll definitely be a lot more where this came from, so definitely stay tuned. Subscribe to my channel if you are not already, and I'll see you guys next time.
Oh, I'll take off your wig, you know. You got that one, not to be there.
Turn the camera off.